Alright, so welcome back to part 2. I got everything worked out. I've got all the pictures on the page the way I want them. And notice I still have some green blocks and also some white strips that need to be filled in. The title needs to be done, the background page, all of that stuff. Another thing I want you to notice is off to the side here on my layers palette. If I were to select a layer, say this one, notice it's going to choose this big rectangle. That's the picture, this picture of Ben. And if I were to go to the layer right below it, that's the paper. So if I turn off the eyeball on the picture, you can see this is the paper, and I've put the picture on top of it, and using Control-Alt-G, I've been able to use what's called a clipping mask, so it clips it to the size of that paper below it. It's almost like you're cutting it in scrapbooking, except you're not actually cutting it, because see, as the picture's selected, I can still move the picture around, but it's only going to show up in that box that was selected, so I can put it wherever I want. The other thing I want you guys to know is that I went ahead and saved this template under a new name. It was originally Dunia Template 16, and I changed it to Ben Cake Smash 2009, and I saved that into my scrapbook folder. And Control S is the shortcut for saving. I do that about every minute or so, because the worst thing to do is to get frozen out or to have something happen and you lose everything you've worked on. So Control S is going to help you out a bunch. Okay, so right now I need to go and choose a kit or choose papers to use with this. So I'm going to go back. I was under the template page. I'm going to go back to my digital scrapbooking folder. I'm going to choose kits. I like kits because it's already got the template, the elements, the sometimes alphabet that goes with it, everything like that. So let me find a kit that I like. Okay, so now to select a kit, I went ahead and chose this kit. It's got a bunch of papers that are fun, bright colors. So I'm just going to choose a couple of them, and if I go back, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that I need, and I need a background paper. So I don't want something super bright for the background or with a lot of pattern with it. So I think I'm going to go with this yellow for the background. And then I'm going to choose some other ones, some other colors. Maybe I want the polka dot one in green. So I'm going to hit Control and then select it. This orangey one with the open dots. Let's see, maybe I want this blue one. And I can come back and get some different ones, maybe the damask here. So I'm going to go ahead and, a stripey one. So open that. By the way, I hit Control to select them, and then I double clicked on the very last one, and so now it's going to open all of them at the same time. You could also go up to File, Open, and then open them up that way. So as you can see, these are actually 12 by 12 scrapbook pages, but my little boxes are really, really small. They're maybe an inch by an inch. So I obviously don't need them this large. I can leave them this large, and it's just going to cut out a little tiny piece of it as if I were cutting it, or I can shrink it down to make the pattern smaller. So let me show you what I mean here with these polka dots. So I'm going to let me start with my background paper so I can see what that's going to look like. Minimize these ones. I want just my background paper. Let's find it real quick. Okay, it's the yellow one. So on my page, I've got to make sure that the background is selected, because that's where I want my page to go, right above the background. And the other trick is, see how I dragged it over and there's a black outline here? If I select Shift, it's going to automatically center it. So as you can see, that background paper is centered. I can still move it if I want to, but it just automatically centers it for me, which is nice. That's what I wanted. That yellow kind of looks funny with these greens, but I'm going to change that in a minute, so it's not a big deal. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. Okay, so now I'm done with this yellow paper. I'm going to close it, and I'm going to choose this green, or let's see here, the green polka dot paper. And I want that to go here in my first box. So I'm going to select it so that my green paper goes right above it, and Control-Alt-G to make a clipping mask. Now you can see it just clipped this little corner of my paper, which is fine, but I want to see more polka dots because you can't really tell. So I'm going to shrink down this paper really, really small, just so you can see more polka dots, and I can shrink it down however much I want. I kind of like it like that. So I hit the check mark, and that changes the resizing. And so there it is. That's what it's going to look like, and I'm going to close that paper because I'm not going to use it again. And I'm just going to keep going. Here's another box that I want to use this orange on. So again, I drag it, making sure it's on top, Control-Alt-G to clip it, and then resize it however I want. And here maybe I want the dots a little bit bigger, so something about like this. You can also, now that the box is selected, if you go right outside the edge, you can see the arrow is kind of curvy. That basically allows me to rotate it if I want to rotate it so that, I don't know, it goes a different direction. I don't really want to right now, so up here where it gives me the angle, I'm just going to bring it right back to 0. I'm fine with it there, and then I'm going to check mark it to say that's how I like it. And that's what I'm going to do to fill in the rest of these. That's how you clip your masks. And I'm probably also going to choose kind of a parchmenty type paper for my little tabs here. So come on back when I'm done with that, and then we'll talk about how to do the titles.